Wait.
Oh,
All
I
right.
got it.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Octant community meeting. I'm Jonas Roslin. I'm here with a bunch of people from the Octant team and the Octant community. Super happy to have you all here. Let's get started. So we have a new upcoming release coming out very soon. Wayne, Sam, do you want to talk about it?
Sure. Yeah, Sam, go ahead and tell the folks what they can expect.
Yeah, so there are going to be two noticeable features that we're going to try to push for the upcoming release. The first one is a terminal that runs container exec. So we're trying to have a tab that has a terminal, and it can map up to each of the containers. And if you wanted to just exec a certain command, or even just have it as an interactive terminal, you can just punch in the commands and you can just do it all from Octant. The second one is more driven from the idea that we want to figure out what we want to show in Octant. And the conclusion that we came to is this idea of a simplified view. So the current overview we feel like might not necessarily be useful to the most general audience or user of Octant. And so this simplified view would just have an at-a-glance view of trying to answer the question, what is wrong with my workload or application? And so this will feature some graphs, particularly just sort of a simple ring that'll show if you have pods that are running, it'll just be visible from the landing page when you boot up Octant, rather than having to dig into the current overview page to figure out how to debug your applications.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah. So the simplified view that Sam mentioned, there was a document shared in the Octant Slack channel. It is a Google Doc that Brian Lyles created that kind of outlines what that feature is going to look like. In the terminal exec, there is a proposal draft in the Octant repo under proposals that kind of talks about what to expect from that feature if you're interested in more of the details around those. We were scheduled to have a release tomorrow. We are going to hold that release probably for another day or two so that we can get these features into O.10. They're really what the next release is kind of baked around anyway. So there are not a lot of things that would be released if we released tomorrow. Just some quality of life fixes that we've put in recently, but no new features if these weren't in. So we're gonna wait until these are ready, and that's when O.10 will go out.
Sounds great. Any questions on 0.10? All right. So after 0.10, what's gonna happen next?
So we're looking at a couple things. I think the items of note would be you can probably expect some improvements to the user experience, to the UX. We're getting some assistance on that front, and I suspect that in our next release we'll have some pretty big changes around how you see Octant when you first start it. We're also looking into getting the ability to start Octant without any initial kube config. Right now, if you don't have a kube config configured, you will start Octant and it'll just error out. We're working on getting that set up so Octant will still run. It'll prompt you for a location to your kube config or its path, and then allow you to continue to operate Octant as you normally do. The other thing we're looking at potentially in the next release, maybe one or two, is getting a tighter integration with local cluster creation and configuration. So having a tighter integration with tools like Kind, allowing you to, again, when you don't have that initial Kubernetes configuration set up and you don't want to upload one, you can then potentially have the option to create one using something like Kind. I think those are the three big things of note.
And I kind of want to also poll folks here and see, are you using OpenIDC or IDC Connect or LDAP or any other integration for identity federation into your Kubernetes clusters? And do you want to see anything from Octant in that respect as well? Is there anybody that has any opinions or thoughts on that? It's all right. No opinions, no needs. That's good. Well, hey Jonas, we should probably, I know that Tim did it for Valero and you. We should probably add some that public kind of PR issue that basically asks people how they're using Octant and what do they want to see next, and that could kind of feed off into some areas that folks might want to see out of that project as well. We should probably do that across all our open source projects, Contour, Sonobui, like anything else as well. That's a great idea. Thank you, because it works well for Harbor now.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to get feedback, and I think Sam and Wayne, if you're okay with it, we can do that for Octant too. It's essentially a GitHub issue where people just fill in how they're using Octant and giving some feedback throughout the process of the project.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Cool. Yeah, so let's do that. Anything else you want to add regarding the future of the project? What's happening in the last piece of the year and beginning of next year here, Wayne?
No, not right now. I think I'll let you go ahead and talk about the next item there.
All right, cool. So the next item here, and I want to share my screen again. So the next item here is essentially checking out the new website. The landing page. So a couple of weeks ago, we launched Octant.dev. So on here, you can find a bunch of resources and things like that for Octant. And of course, we have a blog. We have an initial blog around the project, and we're going to have a blog around 0.10. So you can read up on some of the features coming in that new release. So check out the blog here. And then we have the community tab. This is where we essentially ask you to come and join us. So if you're a newcomer, check out the Good First Issue label in the Octant repository if there's anything you would like to hack on. If you want to follow the work that we do, you can check out the ZenHub board. You can see our backlog there as well. Of course, follow us on Twitter on Project Octant. We just kind of revamped the how we manage Twitter as well. So you should see a lot more activity from that Twitter handle in the next coming weeks here. Of course, if you're not part of it already, please join us on the Kubernetes Slack channel, talk to other community members and us on Octant in the Octant channel there, and join the Google groups to get the invitations to this community meeting and others that are happening. And of course, you're on the Zoom link, and everything gets recorded and uploaded to the YouTube playlist there. If you head over to the documentation, this is constantly built, of course, throughout the release cycle here. So you can see this is for release 0.91. And yeah, we got a bunch here. I know Sam has been working on more docs that are coming in as well. Regarding hacking on Octant and things like that. The last piece here on the site is some resources. We did an Octant webinar on the 18th where you can read up on, or rather watch, Brian Lyles talk about Octant and do some demos. And we have a few other blog posts here as well that are linked. If you have any content that you have written or that you would like to see here, please ping us. You can create a PR or an issue, or just ping us in Slack. One more thing, if you are heading over to KubeCon next week, Brian Lyles will be at the TGIK booth, and I believe it's Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday at 1, and you can chat with him around Octant here. And we have Wayne and Sam who will be at the VMware booth talking about Octant on Tuesday, both morning and afternoon. So If you want to get some hands-on, we do have a hands-on lab there. So if you want to get to your hands-on Octant, check it out at the VMware booth, talk to Sam, talk to Wayne, and talk to Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Jonas. And thanks, Jonas and Sam, well, and everyone else, but particularly they put a lot of work into that getting that Octant.dev up and going. So it's really appreciated. Thank you. And one other thing that I forgot to mention when I was reviewing the O.10 release was we made a change to how Octant is built. We no longer use a standard makefile anymore. It is done with this build.go file that we've created, which is executed through go run commands on that build.go file. This is very useful because it now makes it platform agnostic. So there's no more needing to install make or Mingwin tools on Windows to build Octant or anything like that. So it's all just native Go, and it builds it using that mechanism. So that is something that is, all the documentation has also been updated. So that is something that is there for people who are not running on systems that have a make command or a make command that happen to work with our make file. Because I know there's nmake, gmake, make, all of these different make combinations. So it was good to get rid of that. So I just wanted to call that out because I know we have quite a few people who are using it on Windows.
Yeah, and one thing regarding that, so we updated Homebrew to 0.9.1 last week. Chocolatey and Scoop. I don't run Windows, so I have no idea how to deal with those. But hopefully that'll be easier now with that change as well, right?
It will be a little easier. It still won't change how quickly the package is updated on them, but it will make the build process for those a bit easier, I think. Yes.
Yeah, and just to add on that a little bit, so Scoop usually has automation in place that'll update Octant almost immediately. It'll check it up for the release. Chocolatey goes through a manual review process, and I don't have the link handy, but you can actually see the review queue. And historically, it's been about a week, but because we did a patch bump so we released a 9.0 and then a 9.1 right afterwards. So that generally takes a little bit more time. So that one is out of our control.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else anyone would like to add? Any questions from the community members on the call? All right. Anything else you want to add, Wayne?
Nope, nothing for me.
All right. Then I think we are done for today. Again, if you are heading to KubeCon next week, please come and chat with us. We would love to hear how you're using Octant and your thoughts on improving the project. Super excited to meet you all there. And if you're not, please hit us up on Slack. And with that, have an awesome rest of your week, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.